Whoa, whenever I put my hands like this, it's like whoosh. Shooting with a wide angle lens, still living in this weird Airbnb thing and not having a place of my own. But hey. Hello everybody and welcome back to an American Tom Scott, said entirely because of the red shirt in this video. Well, not anymore. My name is Edinger, and you know what? There's a lot of British things in the world. I said that we're British. And today we're gonna be talking about some ridiculously British things. Found an AskUK thread on the old Reddit, and I thought this was quite funny. What is the absolutely most ridiculous British thing ever that no other country could or would do? Also, today's video is sponsored by The Week magazine, because they know there's multiple sides to every story. You'll hear more about that later on in the video. But what is the most ridiculous thing ever? Well, OP of the Reddit thread has one thing to say. They say, for me, it was the Jaffa cake being a biscuit or a cake, and that being a legal case against HMRC, where McVitie's, I can't pronounce that right, won by baking an actual massive Jaffa cake to prove it was a cake. So very ridiculously British. If you guys aren't aware, yes, that is an incredibly British thing to have happened. Essentially, the company McVitie's make loads of biscuits, right? Or in the US, cookies. You go to the cookie aisle, there'll be loads of different types. You got digestives, you got hobnobs, and you also have Jaffa cakes. Now, the thing that you need to know about Jaffa cakes is that for all intents and purposes, they are kind of a biscuit. They're very, I mean, unless you want to call it a tiny cake, but the difference between biscuits and cakes in the UK, at least in terms of taxes and HMRC, Her Majesty's Royalties and Customs, is that cookies get the full tax treatment, but cakes, they're actually known as a staple food. Somehow. Everyone needs a cake, and so they're zero rated. There's no tax on that. And so there's a big legal battle where the company was like, they're actually cakes, we don't want to pay that tax, they're not biscuits, and they won. That was big news. It's a big news. Jaffa cakes, it's in the name, actually cakes, just really tiny. Either way, next up, what we got here is biscuits being passed around the office and everyone pretending they didn't notice until it gets to them and then they're like, oh, thanks, yeah. Absolutely. You like, it's like the same thing, not just with biscuits, but with a birthday card. So like you see someone passing around the birthday card because it's someone's birthday in the office and you have to be like, yeah, I'm just working. No, I'm just, oh yes, birthday card, yes, I'll sign. Very, very ridiculously British. I feel like I was the exact opposite though when it came to like cakes and things. As soon as I figured out there was a cake, I'm gonna be the first one to get a slice outside of the birthday boy, okay? I'm a big fatty. The most watched program in the country 2 years in a row was the final of a baking competition. I can't think of many countries where the equivalent of a televised village fete would be more watched than big sports features or big political broadcasts. I did not know that. The Great British Bake Off, or as they say in America, the Great British Baking Show, was really the most watched program in the UK. I believe it, but that is an incredibly British thing. I feel like there's no way any other program could surpass the Super Bowl more recently, right? I'm fairly certain it's always the Super Bowl every year. Also the fact that for 3 years now, our Christmas #1 has been a sausage roll related song. I'm very, very happy with this. I love Lad Baby, and even more that he does all of this for charity. Oh, I'm not aware of this. Sausage roll related Christmas songs. You guys over here are very obsessed with the Christmas #1. What song is #1 in the charts for the Christmas week? Why? I guess it's tradition. It's just tradition. Alex McLellan and John Smeaton. I don't know who they are. For those who are too young to remember, there was a terror attack on Glasgow Airport in 2007. McLellan and Smeaton witnessed what was going on and kicked one of the terrorists very hard in the balls. McLellan, in fact, kicked so hard he damaged the tendon in his foot. Both were subsequently recommended and commended for bravery. Smeaton even got the Queen's Gallantry Medal. Can't think of anything more British or precisely Scottish than kicking someone in the nuts and getting a medal from the Queen for it. Honestly, never heard of that, but absolutely amazing. I feel like for some reason, I could see that happening maybe in Denmark. I don't know, they've eaten their own prime minister or something, haven't they? But wow, ridiculous. So he kicked a terrorist in the nuts so hard, hurt his foot, and the Queen went, "Good show, you get yourself a medal." Lovely. And then, oh, hold on. Got it. Oh, yes, the doorbell. How did you ring my doorbell? This is a room in a random flat. I don't even have a doorbell. Sound effects. Anyway, here's this week's copy of the week for you to read. Thank you, but you're gonna have to refresh my mind on this. My memory's kinda week.
Oh, the week? I mean, I guess their elevator pitches, rather than giving you biased coverage of the news, they handpick their most important stories of the week.
That's the name.
Don't interrupt me. And they provide you with, objectively, what happened, what the commentators said, what the editorial said, and an all-around what basically happens next, so you can form a more well-rounded opinion of the world around you.
All right, but what if I want more than just the news per week?
Oh, all right. I mean, there's a lot in the week. What are you interested in? You like food?
Who doesn't?
Wine? Lifestyle?
Yeah, to be honest, I still don't know what lifestyle's supposed to mean.
Tech?
Now you're talking.
Yep, well, all that is in each and every week's copy of The Week magazine. And if you sign up with my link in the description box below, you get 6 weeks of The Week for free. No questions asked, cancel at any time, and you also get access to their complete digital offerings. So you're able to read each and every copy of The Week on your phone, your tablet, your computer, or physical. Any way you want.
Sure, sounds like a great offer, but haven't I already signed up for it? Isn't that why you've already delivered me one?
That is true. Bye.
Don't forget to click the link in the description.
All right, well, thanks for the ad read. What is up next for the most British thing ever? Ridiculously. It has to be ridiculously British. We've got, what about Watership Down? You know that kids film where the rabbits were being ripped apart for kids? 63 rabbits die on screen in 91 minutes? What? Lucky I missed that. We had some scary films growing up as a kid, but 63 rabbits die on screen. See also Animals of Farthing Wood. I'm still traumatized by that, and I'm in my mid-30s. I haven't seen this, but the only thing I can think of comparable that we had that you also must have had is like The Secret of Nim. Is that what it was? It's the one about the lab rats? Really messed up film. All the films from that director, really like, as it for a kid, like, oh geez, it's really dark. Bodie McBoatface. Was that really a UK thing? Why did I not know this? Bodie McBoatface, what you get when you let the internet decide. Ah, yes, when any poll's a goal, as they say. Yeah, never ever let the internet decide any name of anything. Or mostly anything. That's what's gonna happen. I'd do a poll right now about it, but you know, YouTube stopped letting me do that. For those of you that missed out on that important part of internet history, the British government decided to let the internet choose the name for their over 200 million pound polar research vessel, their boat. Well, Bodie McBoatface was chosen, and that's the one. Very dignified name. Sadly, though, they did rename the ship to the RRS Sir David Attenborough. A nice name, but Bodie McBoatface definitely blows that one out of the water. That was a good pun, all right? It's about time I made some of those. Complain about houses being built on the Greenbelt while living in a house that was once built on Greenbelt land. To be honest, the place that I'm hoping to buy soon, which is, you know, brand new properties being built, I've already seen people like in the group of other residents in that area protesting about more houses being built nearby, when I'm like, but the one that you're in was literally just built. So you're like, now that I've got this, nobody else can have a place nearby. I get the reasoning, but also I do find it funny, the lack of self-awareness a bit. Ah, there we go, it's literally the next one. Complaining about new builds when once your house was a new build. Literally within like 2 years. Like I said, it's really interesting, just built, and yet people are like, no more actually. The housing situation's been solved for me. Let's end it. Speaking of, still don't have the place, but as of recording this, valuation happening? Maybe I can get the mortgage? Well, speaking of the most ridiculously British things, the French people seem to find it hilarious that opening up pubs after lockdown was considered a major priority. That is very British, and also frustrating, only because it was like, yeah, sure, funny, culturally, haha, but it really wasn't and shouldn't have been the priority, okay? I feel like most people can agree, especially considering that there were so many things that were still closed down, like pubs were wide open, and football stadiums, they're totally good. But the arts, plays, movie theaters, no. Giant football stadiums? Cinemas. Ridiculous! The second part of the story, HMRC then changed the tax law so they can be taxed whether they're a cake or a biscuit. More of the story, the tax man always wins. Thank you so much for following up with that information, because I literally thought they'd won that battle. After all the legal fees, Mick Batiste was like, heck yeah! And HMRC was like, we'll just rewrite the law, that's fine. Definitely very British there. Cheese rolling. As much as I'd like to say this is the most ridiculously British thing, I feel like if you replace cheese with something else, the US would definitely be all over it. For those of you unaware, cheese rolling. My girlfriend literally just introduced me to this concept yesterday, so I'm thankful because now I could talk about this. People will literally nearly break their spines tumbling down an incredibly steep hill to be the first one to get the cheese that's rolling down. Congratulations, Britain. Cheese isn't worth dying for. in the UK. Maybe go somewhere else. No offense. Good brie, but not worth your spine breaking into parts and becoming debris. You guys say Deborah's, don't you? Ruins my pun. Oh, I've got another one. We went to the Food and Drink Festival in Bolton this weekend. Warburtons had rocked up in a van and were giving everyone a free hot crumpet. You could have butter or jam or Marmite. Now that's a company whose marketing department knows its audience. No nonsense. Just have a crumpet on us. I don't think I've ever seen a better received PR stunt. One time I tweeted that I'd never had crumpets, and Warburtons literally sent me like multiple packs of crumpets. I don't know how I could eat them all. There was literally, I want to say about 80 of them. It's a lot of crumpets. I literally filled up my entire freezer and it was really delicious. Thank you, Warburtons. Good PR. Good British ridiculousness. Yarn bombing. British grannies knit hats for post boxes, and it's the most British thing I've ever seen. It's awesome. Oh, that sounds so adorable. Also, yes, ridiculously British. I've never heard of this. Let me look up some photos. It's a type of graffiti or street art that employs colorful displays of knitted or crocheted yarn. Yes, congratulations, Britain. Ridiculously British. Wow, some of these yarn bombs displays are wild. Look at that. Oh, that looks so pretty. Oh my gosh, someone yarn bombed themselves. You learn something about this country every day. Thanks to this YouTube channel, which you subscribe to. Thank you very much, appreciate it. What are some other ridiculously British things? Cheering whenever someone drops a glass in a pub. Way! I just can't help it. If you hear some glass shattering, it's a celebration for everybody. Does that make the server feel less awkward if they've done it? I feel like I'd get embarrassed if I did that, but also be like, everyone's cheering for my failure. Does any other country have the likes of Lord Buckethead running in elections? No, that is ridiculously British. Congratulations. Brits being able to queue up in an orderly fashion for taxis after all the pubs close is incredibly fascinating from a drunk American perspective. Who queues up for taxis these days? Maybe me. I don't know if you guys have noticed this in the UK, but all the ride-hailing apps are really bad. Uber, it'll just constantly be hanging up. You won't find anyone. I've tried the Bolt. I've tried nothing. The black cabbies are now like, haha, you'll have to come back to us. I'd rather walk. I got the night bus for 2 hours the other day. I just really don't like the experience. It's too overpriced, those black cabs. But hey, at least they could pick you up these days. And at least maybe a night bus will take me to Peckham. Someone walking into you or hitting you with their trolley or similar, and yet you're the one to apologize. Every time someone runs into me, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry that I'm in your way. Please let me escape an embarrassment. But then as soon as the interaction ends, I always kind of mutter like, even though it was your fault. I don't know if that's more British or American, so. Allow an inbred pedophile rapist to just walk free because of his lineage and title. Awkward, considering the news today. The Metropolitan Police went, we'll just drop that. UK monarchy brings in tourism. Genuine question, off topic slightly. Supposedly the reason we have the monarchy still in the UK is because it brings in tourism. Does it? Are people visiting to see the royal? I don't think so. This is a personal opinion. You can visit the palaces and rich people things that they have had, but who's visiting for the monarchy? I just don't know if that's a really good argument in this year of our Lord. It's just a bit made up, like the monarchy. Morris dancers. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to assume it's when you go into a Morrison's when they're having a sale and they do a little dance. When a fight kicks in on the tube and everyone pretends that they haven't noticed someone getting their head kicked in. Well, it's rude to pay attention to others on the tube. Pantomimes for Christmas. Absolutely ridiculously British. I remember going to my first pantomime and being so utterly confused. I was like, why are there adults here? This is like a live action Dora the Explorer. Where is he? He's over behind you. But everyone loves it. Everyone loves it. 2 taps, 1 cold, 1 warm. Both wrong. Beans on toast, correct. No one outside of the UK would ever attempt to eat that filth. Unless you put cheese on it, that's okay. I used to live with a French lass who was utterly baffled by self-raising flour. The rest of the world just adds baking soda to their flour. Apparently we're lazy for this. I got really confused because I'd never heard of that before either. So I've accidentally bought self-raising flour and been upset because I'm one of those people that follows a recipe. And if they say add baking soda to flour, I'm going to do that. I want to have it exact. I'm not going to get self-raising flour. No. I guess that is pretty British, except I would assume America has 30 different variations of self-raising flour. Correct me if I'm wrong, Americans. Probably have blue flour. I've seen this blue syrup from Cap'n Crunch recently, and I'm gonna be very honest, most ridiculously American thing I've ever seen. and I want to. And the most ridiculously British thing you probably could do is subscribe to a British American on YouTube. It's my channel. Or watch another one of my fun Reddit videos. They're pretty good. Thanks so much for stopping on by during my tumultuous time of my life. I hope you have a really nice rest of your week, and I'll talk to you probably next week. Goodbye.